What's up, everybody? Another week of RLCS action, and with it means more trade windows. If you guys watched my video last week, I talked a lot about key pieces of things being the difference between when that domino effect is going to happen, when we're going to see these rosters really start to solidify. And the big one I was talking about had to do with the top two in Europe. And I'm not including Vitality. I'm really hoping that Vitality stays the same. The one I am talking about is what's going on with BDS. I personally feel BDS is making a decision between two players. Do they rebuild with Monkey Moon or do they rebuild with Rise? I think that is the pivotal decision that they are trying to make of what their future is going to look like. I think Monkey Moon has solidified his spot. I think whatever the issues were behind the scenes have been cleared and they're good to move forward. So with that, we then got some interesting things most recently at the K Corp event that they threw. Number one, massive round of applause to the K Corp fan base and what they accomplish. Kamito and the rest of the guys over there are continuing to show what an org is striving to be in 2023, 2024 in esports. To fill that stadium, to announce that they're building a brand new stadium and all that kind of stuff is great. But what they ended up doing, if you guys are unfamiliar, is they ran like 3 or 4 different events. It was basically K Corp versus the world. It was K Corp's Rocket League team versus G2, K Corp's Valorant team versus another. It was so on and so forth. But what was important for our space in particular is that during this event, Itachi did confirm on stage that the show match versus G2 is their last as a roster. It is looking like the Exotic and Itachi rumors, coach and everything are no more. They are going their separate ways. They're doing their own thing, and only Vatira is going to remain. We can always dissect body language and all the issues that were going on and how he stood differently or the way he was received or whatever the situation. There was a lot of different things going on, but the one thing that we can confirm is the thing that was said specifically by the players. You can tell Itachi had a ton of emotions going through him. If you haven't checked out, go check out the clips and stuff. Very emotional time. You can see that he's heavily invested in what it meant. It says thank you a bunch. But with that, it was then paired by a rumor from Shift that is looking more and more likely. Things to consider. First things first. K Corp, rumors are looking to sign Rise, former of BDS, and Atow, former of Liquid, to join Vatira. Now, Rise is an unrestricted free agent, and as you guys know, you can go, he can do whatever he wants. He doesn't have to have any buyouts. He is able to just pick the player, the team that he wants the most. Nice thing is this is a reunion potentially of what is arguably the roster that ended too soon. Vatira, Rise, and Joyo had a lot of potential as Queso and Moist. And a lot of us were curious as to why that didn't continue. What is the reason you guys decided to split and go elsewhere? A lot of people believe it was because Vatira wanted to go to an all French-speaking roster. Power to him. Saw that it was being, successful for others and kind of set that precedent. Everybody else followed suit, which is interesting that if that was the narrative, because he's then teaming back with the Rise. Some insight that some people don't know that is very important about the Vatira and Rise relationship is that when he was on Moist, the number one thing that they talked about was great is the fact that Rise and Vatira mid-game, not even at the end of a series or post-game analysis or whatever, but mid-game had the ability to communicate and keep each other accountable and say, hey, this is where we're messing up. These are the things we need to fix. And they did that mid-series, which is allowing them to then have the ice, that bounce back, that clutch factor, and you could never count them out. They both are very competitive and want to win. And when you have two of those personalities striving to do and accomplish the same thing, it's going to lead to some incredible results. So I personally think that Vatira Rise is one of the best pairings you can get of all time. Like, it is an incredible duo to team together based on talent, intangibles, on and off the field communication. Like, they are going to go in with this as a true business mentality. Maybe they become friends along the way, but their purpose is to win and win convincingly. So that duo, if it happens, I think people should be afraid of. As for the third pairing, Atow, without an argument, is the best player on Team Liquid currently. There's no argument for it. He is a player that, in my assessment of how Rocket League should be played, he has that it factor. He passes the eye test. He understands how to facilitate. He can have the, breakout performance if he needs to. But I say the same thing about a player like Rise, technically. It's just Rise has that intangible when it comes to the way he communicates, the way he holds people accountable. But Atow as an overall player, I've heard some good and bad. I've heard that Maturity wise is still lacking a little bit. He's made some pretty sus decisions in the past, whether true or not. Again, just rumors and whisperings. I've also heard, with Liquid, they've been trying to change their roster for 2 splits now. Don't know if he is the catalyst behind that. But what I do know is he's a very talented player. And if these two are willing to say, yep, let's get him, probably a reason for that. So I do think that the number one question during the offseason, during roster changes, trade windows, whatever, that you have to ask yourself, can we beat the best team with this decision? Or is it just going to be another second place victory? I look at this roster. I look at the Vitality roster, who is arguably the best in the world. I don't think you can argue that. 5 events in a row. Don't include Gamers 8 because it's a different format, but a lot can happen in offseason. You're talking complacency. You're talking, hey, maybe because we've tasted greatness, we've lifted the trophy, maybe we don't try as hard. I don't know. A lot can happen in 3-4 months. But the question you have to ask when changing the roster is this team capable of going and winning a world championship against the other competition? Because it's not just a one event thing, it is a long-term thing. Can we communicate through our issues? Can we grow and adapt? Can we have the ability to, when needed, handle the adversity or the issues that we're going to face, because it's inevitable, and come together as a team? That is my only question mark about this roster. I don't know what the communication, the dialogue, the chemistry internally is like between these players if Atow is the 3rd edition. I don't know personality-wise how it fits. I do know Atow likes to go and play with other French players and likes to associate and hang out with those types of guys. It was all that way in Germany. I can say that because I watched the Complexity versus K-Corp match with all the other French players. They all hung out there together. So there is a very strong community bond, and French people are pride in winning is number 1, and then teams and friends are second. We want to win more than we want you to win. So even if a French team is playing another team, we'd rather have that other team win because we want to be the ones that win, not you guys. Where in NA, it's like, hey, NA is not playing. I want the other NA team to win so NA can have representation. French is not like that at all. They're like, hey, heck that French team. Go random other team. We want you to win and knock them out so we can be the best French team. It's kind of crazy. And then they're all like friends, sunshine, and rainbows after. It's wild stuff. So I'm curious to see if this team is capable of beating Vitality. I think talent-wise, without a doubt, I think Vatira, while he had some really solid talent, I think Itachi is world-class. He's probably one of the best free agents available right now. Exotic, I think, was probably the one that would have been replaced. But, like, Rise, Itachi, I think Rise gets the nod because of the things off camera that you don't see that he does and in-game that he does that are incredible. And Atow for Exotic, like, I think when you look on paper, yeah, it's a really talented team. Is it going to be enough to beat the world champions? That is... I think it's plausible. I think it's something that can definitely happen, but is this going to be the dynasty or the long-term success they're looking for? Don't know. Also curious to see who they go with the coach. Now that conversation's over, there's also some more Shift news that is rumored to be that Atomik and Tox, former teammates, are looking to form again with Stizzy. You guys don't know this roster. Atomik, former G1. Tox was with LG at one point, and then most recently it was not Monaco, that's Stizzy. PSG Tundra, the German Amigos PSG Tundra roster with Verge and the boys, and then Stizzy, who is Monaco. So up and coming talent, a lot of potential. We'll see how that one goes, but that is what is the current rumor for those. It'll be interesting to see on how they play out. So if you guys would like to give me your opinion, do you think that K-Corp roster can compete against the top dogs? I think the talent is there, but as for the other stuff that is intangible, we'll have to wait and see. I really hope there's some offseason tournaments that pop up for these guys to come and play in, because I want to see what these rosters are going to look like as soon as possible. So hopefully we can get some replays from these and put it all together for y'all on broadcast. But that's going to do it for today's roster information. More in the future. As always, if you want to stay up to date, like, subscribe, notifications. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.